We're rolling? Yep. Cool. Well, welcome to the podcast, everybody. We're just calling it The Podcast today.
Today.
Just today.
But in the future.
Because we're coming up with some names. And I really like Wired Empire. Sounds a little too commanding, kind of, though. Almost like, it sounds kind of like a hip-hop thing, maybe.
Yeah, or an HBO series.
Yeah, that's what I was getting.
Yeah. Where did you come up with that, though? What does that mean?
Well, Wired, because we're in a studio.
Okay.
Empire for no reason.
Because you're building an empire. Right. The hustle, baby, the hustle.
I think it sounds cool, but it's maybe a little too... not corporate.
Can we do... I like it, but I want the picture for Spotify and Apple to be an exact shot-for-shot recreation of a 90s hip-hop video. Or just
that would be awesome,
like
though.
On the beach or something with the burnout car in the background.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I'm in.
So you're into that name?
Sure. But we have
What do
to...
you think,
my
Dan?
stipulation is that photo has to happen.
But that would be cool. I think people would like that. Actually, I don't care what people like. We're doing it for us.
That's what you want to say.
Yeah.
That's what you want everybody to think about.
Because if we do it for us, people will believe in it.
Okay. All right.
You like that name, Dan?
Sure, let's roll with it, man. I have no other ideas, so...
Be thinking about that this week.
So, yeah. On top of all the other stuff that we ask you to do,
Sure.
think about the name for the
podcast
podcast.
name.
Well, I'm Steve Antonelli. I am with Search Real Estate Group, and today we have two special guests. But one person here is just going to be here, my friend Dan. He's an agent with Search Real Estate Group. And then Mark Cashin
That's me.
is also an agent.
Yep.
And an owner.
Part owner.
You would say part owner.
I would say the better looking owner. I would say the smarter owner.
Yeah.
But I still have to give credit where credit is due and part.
You got to give
Half.
because you only own half.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, 51%.
You got 51?
He doesn't know about that yet. I drew up the documents. I crossed it out and that day after 1%.
You can make all the decisions. And so what we thought was that we would just talk and do a little podcast and get it out there, talk about some mortgage stuff, talk about some normal life stuff, and bounce things off of each other. Mark may or may not be here sometimes. We hope to have some guests. We have some guests planned already. And right now we're going to do this once a month. But who knows what will happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take it a little farther. So how was your weekend?
Mine was good. I did a little golf boys trip to Ocean City in Delaware. We went back and forth.
Ocean City and Rehoboth?
Well, I don't know no, it wasn't Rehoboth, but it was 20 minutes outside Ocean City. Played a course in Delaware,
Yeah.
came back, stayed in Ocean City, went back and forth.
Yeah.
So that was fun. I went with one of the guys that we work with in real estate, Jordan Bird. He
Yeah.
owns Inspectology, the home inspection company. 12 other guys, or 11 other guys. So we're
11 dudes.
12 of us total. Yep. So we played 18 on Friday, 36 Saturday, 18 on Sunday. Came home. It's fun. It's a good
You like
weekend.
golf?
I do. I don't play a lot as much as I used to. No, but
Were you the best or the worst one there?
I was middle of the road.
Oh, really? There
Yeah.
was people worse than you.
The first day I shot a 102.
Why are you so surprised that there's...
I don't know.
The first day I shot 102, which is awful. And then the second day I shot a 82, which is great. And then just went up and down from there. So it was a big range.
How much did you cheat when you shot that 82?
No, that was legit.
Okay.
That was legit.
Dropped 20 strokes and...
I'm telling you, man.
All right.
It was. I hit my 7-iron anywhere between 130 and 210. I have no idea where. Sometimes it goes straight and sometimes it doesn't. But everything went straight.
When
the
you
second.
say you did 82, like what's an amazing score?
Well, if a pro played the course that we played at,
I don't do golf. I don't
if
know
a pro
golf.
played a course we played at, they'd probably shoot like in the 50s.
Oh, so the lower it is, the better.
The lower the better.
Okay.
Which doesn't make sense when you think about like below par.
Yeah.
Like par in golf, if you're below par, it's good. But anything else in life, if you're
The same,
subpar,
right.
you're shit. Can we curse on this podcast?
Yeah, I think we can.
Okay, you're shit. You're shite for our English listeners.
For shite. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I'm glad you had a good time. I
not-
can't imagine going on a trip to just do golf. I can't. I don't know how I would do that.
It was fun. A lot of it
wouldn't-
was just
let's just
hanging
say I
out.
wouldn't
Yeah, you
do
just
it.
wouldn't go. No, it was fun. The golf is fun, but it's sort of in our younger days when we would do golf trips, the golf was secondary to the drinking.
Right.
And now that we're older,
Yeah.
the golf is a little more.
Because that's the whole thing, right? You get on a cart and you go to the club, and everybody's
The club?
drinking. Well, like the country club or whatever, right?
Sure.
Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, you're good. You're doing great.
Isn't it called a country club?
Yeah, Clubhouse.
Well, then what are you laughing about?
It's just funny the way you said it. It sounded like our '90s gangster video. We go to the
Like
club.
to go into the club. Yeah, just I don't know, man. I don't drink and then I play golf, so I just have a bad time.
You're gonna be really good in sales.
No, you don't have to do everything on the golf course.
I don't golf, so
You don't golf?
But you sail your yacht around the world.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. My imaginary
Do you
yacht.
boat?
No, I don't. But I mean, I enjoy being on a boat, but I don't,
But you don't have a
a
boat.
boat or anything or grow up.
I just always joke with him that he always looks like he came off of a sailboat.
Yeah.
You look very Annapolis.
See?
Yeah.
You do look very nautical. But you don't know why. You just this is your,
I mean, this is my work dress,
yeah.
so I don't necessarily tuck my shirt in
Yeah,
social
right.
gatherings unless it's a
I look
certain
like
event.
I don't. This is my work thing,
Yeah.
and that's
Well, you have
yours
that
is better.
same shirt.
Yours is better.
That's the fifth copy of that shirt, or you have
I
one?
looked the other day. I probably have over 10 shirts with similar patterns in blue.
Yeah. I mean, you get to a certain point in style, you know what you like and you know what you don't like.
And you
it's
just do it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, I know. How many freaking button-down shirts do I have to have?
Right.
You know what sucks now about being on video all the time is like I'm super self-conscious of like repeating outfits.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or not super. I'm starting to be
Yeah.
aware of it more
Yeah.
so. So I'm
Yeah.
like, shit, this is what my go-to, and you can recycle it because you work with your clients for 3 months, 6 months, and then you never really see them again most
Yeah.
of the time in a professional work environment, and then you just have a new client. They don't know what you dressed like before,
Right.
but now. they
now
see me.
you're on
Now
It's on,
they
camera
see
it's on the internet.
forever.
And
But they're not
everybody's
looking-
tracking. Dan wore this.
Do you-
Repeat.
They're not. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They're not. They don't
Do you
give a shit.
tailor what you wear based on the price of the house or the client?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
Man,
sure.
I would.
So I mean, no. If it's honestly though, it all ends up after you get more comfortable for the client. Like you're in your suit. Maybe if it's a more expensive house, but then after month 2, if you're still searching, I might break it down to this.
Right.
If the relationship is
gradually go
good.
down to
yeah,
shorts.
just get lazier and lazier, and then
Yeah.
it's athletic shorts, and yeah,
I love repeat clients too because there's no
Yeah.
break-in period. You just show up in jeans and a t-shirt.
yeah.
Like, hey,
Would you ever show up in flip flops?
I think men should never wear flip-flops.
Oh, in general.
I think
Even at the
unless you're at the
beach?
beach, that's the only
You
caveat.
do realize you live in Baltimore, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think
People wear
any-
flip flops more here than because of the beach.
Well, I don't.
I wear them in the summer.
I wear them every. I'd wear them
Nope.
every. Well, yeah, I wear them all the time.
You wear them all the time.
Yeah, I mean on the winter, but yeah, summer,
right.
I'll die
summer
on this
weekends.
hill.
That's
But-
all I'm wearing, unless I'm wearing pants, which is generally not often in the winter or in the summertime.
You don't wear flip flops with pants?
Occasion, no, generally not. No.
I wear flip flops with jeans all the time, all summer.
Yeah.
Well, unless
Well, I
I'm
don't
going
wear
to
jeans in the summer. I wear shorts.
Oh, you wear shorts? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never wear shorts.
No, if this is going to turn into a men's style thing, I think men should never wear flip-flops unless you're at the beach.
I think
don't know
you're going
if
to
it's
offend a
gonna
lot of people on this podcast. Mark is from New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Right. Yeah.
Which is worse because
Yeah, you guys don't.
Gym Tan
Because you got
laundry.
gross feet in Jersey.
I have gross feet. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what,
you don't.
I'm not
you
a
think
feet-
that, but you don't.
I'm not a foot guy.
No. Yeah. I mean,
I'm not a foot guy. But I don't know. I just think. But I don't also wear shorts. I never wear shorts.
Why not?
I don't know. Just pants. and
that's true.
jeans
I've
and a
never
t-shirt.
seen you in shorts
Yeah.
ever.
Jeans
That's
and a
true.
t-shirt. I would have had my boots on today, but I left them in the car last night, so I wore these.
But back to your shirt. Did your wife ever say, "Come on, let's. I need to dress you. You need to dress a little different."
No.
She never
I've
says
always
that?
had. I've always been okay with dressing myself. Yeah.
But girlfriends and
No,
wives
there
do
are. There
that.
are. Like there's several guy friends that I have that probably they have bought none of their clothes, and they do run in that issue. But I've always been okay in that department. Pat myself on the
We'll
back.
Yeah, that's good.
We'll see
You're
what
good.
she says.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll bring her in.
I will admit, the older I get, the lazier I get. So I just don't care as much anymore about my
I don't either.
Right.
appearance.
Well,
I don't want to look like a bum, but like I
I
don't
would
need to.
exactly. I would care when it came to being with a client,
Yeah.
but I don't. I normally do this, and then sometimes with a jacket.
Yeah.
Is that bad?
No, I keep a sport coat in my car.
Yeah.
Like I would literally wear this, throw a jacket over it, and all of a sudden you look more professional.
Yeah. Well, I have a couple cool things to share with the people.
What? Let's go.
Now, I don't know when these are going to air, but because I'm not sure if the news is going to be current, but we talked a little bit a second ago. This is old news. The thing about TikTok and Instagram is that as soon as it's out, like my girls will show me something, and 2 days later I'll say, let's watch that video, and they're like, no, that's all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that, man.
Well, and they've also probably watched it 4,000 times already.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So the kid, I thought this was cool. The kid, you haven't seen the Korn video, the Korn kid.
I thought
I'm
when
gonna
you
show it
first
to
said
you.
that, I thought you were talking about Korn the band,
Yeah,
Yeah.
with a C. Korn
No,
with a C, not a K.
like the food.
Like the food.
Yeah.
This kid, Tariq, they actually don't even say his last name, 7 years old. I'm going to show you the video, but he is now South Dakota's new Korn ambassador. a boy who recently found out that Korn is for real. Okay, let me play it for you, Dan. Korn kid.
I like that Dan isn't on TikTok or Instagram really, so he doesn't
yeah,
see
man.
this stuff. We can blind react.
And are we making fun of a 7-year-old?
No, it's
I'm getting
cute.
into?
It really is cute.
No, it's not.
Okay, it's cute.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like the whole thing. Do you remember that? While he's pulling that up, do you remember the Walmart yodel kid?
No.
I don't remember him either.
What?
Maybe. Maybe.
He was like,
I really like Cone.
Oh.
Ever since I was told that Cone is real, it tasted good.
Did you think corn wasn't real?
And when I tried it with Dodo, everything changed. I love Cone. Cone.
Even Cone.
Eating corn?
So not everyone has to like it to be the best.
Yeah.
Everyone just has to try it. Have a bite.
What else are your favorite
have a
things?
bite.
I play a variety of games.
Variety of games.
Big head, double lava monster. Yeah, mostly Cone. I mean, then
Mostly Cone.
I can't imagine a more beautiful thing. It's cool.
All right, you've seen enough.
Yeah.
I love it.
It gets even cuter from there.
Dude, the kid's awesome. And they put
He
music
is.
to it, and it's a song now.
Now it's a song, yeah. Some people might think corn is just a starchy vegetable. But Tariq, whose last name was Private Reasons, yeah, that makes sense. It's a big, beautiful lump of knob with knobs on it. His favorite part is the juice that comes out, and he, as he's chowing down, he told an interviewer on YouTube, blah, blah, blah. I mean, just look at the thing. I can't imagine a more beautiful thing. Anyway, he's the ambassador in South
For
Dakota.
what, South
but he's not
Dakota?
even from South Dakota. He's from, they said, he's from like Jersey or something. God bless him.
He's from Jersey?
He's from
I like that kid.
New York. He's from New York. He attended an honorary ceremony in the Corn Palace.
Is South Dakota known for its corn?
Guess so.
Isn't that Nebraska?
I don't
what's
know.
the
I
Nebraska
thought all of
football
those
team?
made.
Yeah, they're the Cornhuskers.
Yeah.
And how about where was Hoosiers about? What was Hoosiers about?
Isn't that
A high school basketball team. I mean, it's Indiana, but
Indiana.
Indiana has
Yeah.
corn, though, right?
I think they all have corn out there.
We have
right?
corn in
they all have
Maryland. Look at this thing, man. This song. But who talks? I've never
I would just
loved
want to
anything that much as he loves corn.
Oh man, he's really into it. But that's the beauty of seeing it is that he's just so innocent.
So
like,
innocent.
It's so great right then.
And then
know,
he's
like-
going to be jaded when he's older.
Right.
He can always imagine a more beautiful thing.
And he'll be like the child kids that just are depressed when they're like 30 years. I shouldn't say
That's
that.
awful. Why are you
Yeah,
laughing?
maybe that's not true.
We
Well,
love
I don't
to.
know. It's just
It is
so typical.
it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Have you seen the dark side of comedy?
Yeah, with Chris Farley.
Well, that was an episode, yeah. But they
Oh,
just
it's a-
did.
it's
It's
a-
like a show
okay, yeah, no.
on Vice, and they just did. I should remember his name, but Screech from Saved by the Bell,
yeah.
and it got pretty dark for him.
Yeah.
He ended up doing porn.
So I was just going to ask. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if that was him or not.
That was him.
It was, yeah.
But then he died, right? He's dead.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
cancer.
shit.
Yeah,
And was that drug related?
cancer.
Oh,
Yeah,
cancer.
yeah.
Oh.
God Almighty! I saw Corey Feldman on a podcast, Steve-O's podcast, and he looks weird, man. He looks plastic, and his whole shtick now is that he's a musician. He wants to be taken seriously as
Right.
a musician, and he goes on these he pulls strings and gets on these morning shows, and he has a whole female band, it's kind of like a cultish kind of. It was weird, man. Those guys. I mean, I feel bad for them. I felt bad for Justin Bieber when he was really big. I was like, man, I know this is gonna go south. It just seems so strange.
His roast on Comedy Central, I've seen clips of it, and it was basically like what he was like. What did you think was going to happen when you give a 16-year-old kid $1 billion? He
Right.
was like leaning into the fact that he was a shit, like he was just an
Yeah,
idiot.
he was
What do you think's going to happen? You gave me $1 billion at 16.
Right.
Okay.
So imagine what you would do.
Well, now I'd be socially and
Right,
fiscally
yeah,
responsible,
exactly.
but back then
Yeah, back then, who knows?
I would have been an idiot.
Yeah, I was gonna say something about that, about Bieber. Oh, I know what it was. He got clean though. He remember he met this like preacher, this like
I didn't read his biography.
Hillsong preacher.
Hillsong. Isn't that a band? Isn't that a Christian band?
It's a church. Well,
Oh.
it's under a lot of scrutiny now. It's a church, but they have like several groups that came out of that church. It's massive, and actually they just did a documentary on that. It wasn't good. But anyway, this dude, he's like a rock star pastor. Sometimes he wear no shirt and he was all ripped and stuff like that. And he was weird.
Yeah.
And he like helped Bieber. And I guess Bieber was always a Christian. And now he's moved back to his faith or something like that.
Well, good.
That's good.
Yeah.
But like, and he got married too, and he's still married.
Isn't it? Who'd he marry?
I don't remember.
Seinfeld? Isn't it a Seinfeld?
He married Seinfeld.
Not Jerry.
It's not. It's Baldwin.
Baldwin.
Yeah.
Baldwin's daughter or something?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're not talking about Bieber marrying either one of the fathers.
What? Who are we talking about?
One of the Baldwin children.
Oh, okay. One of the Baldwin
daughter.
children. All right,
Alex's daughter?
Maybe.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Does anybody care about the other Baldwins anymore?
No, I don't know.
One
but
of
they're
the Baldwins was in Backdraft,
good. Yeah.
the fire department movie.
And also Unusual Suspects, Stephen Baldwin. Maybe it was Stephen Baldwin. He was great in that, man.
I don't know.
That was a good
You have never
movie.
saw
Yeah,
Unusual
yeah.
Suspects?
I don't watch movies or listen to music.
What do you do?
I don't know. I don't know.
It
Go
goes
to
on
golf outings.
outings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really. We've talked about this before. I don't really listen to music. Or,
No, but you play it.
yeah, which is weird. Which is why I don't have any.
Actually,
credibility.
that's something that takes a lot of your time,
yeah.
playing music.
Playing
All right, I'm going to run through these, and then we're going to do some mortgage stuff.
What are these news stories?
Yeah, they're funny.
What's the name of this segment?
Ish. News stories with Steve. I don't know.
We need like a graphic, like a card. Like a
Yeah, that's true.
dun, 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 dun.
We got a lot of work to do here.
You got a lot of work to do.
We got a lot of work to do.
No, you got a lot of words to do.
So you hear my gravel,
Yeah.
my gravelly voice. Forgive that.
You were just
I don't
out
normally
back
sound like
chopping
this.
wood. You're like a lumberjack.
No,
You're very masculine
just
today.
sick. Check this one out. An Ice Age bison was discovered. An Ice Age bison, then soon eaten, once the foul taste was smothered. Look at this thing.
Wait,
This is an Ice Age 10,000-year-old bison.
Wow.
Then the scientists thought it would be cool to cut some of it off and eat it. They said it tastes like beef jerky and it tasted horrible, which that makes sense.
Beef jerky's delicious.
beef jerky, yeah, not 10,000-year-old.
No, I didn't say
Well,
10,000,
they said
sorry.
It tastes like beef jerky.
55,000, but it was preserved in ice
Yeah.
perfectly.
So okay, so there was a 55,000-year-old bison,
Yeah.
basically preserved.
Almost completely preserved.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
and then
face
scientists
and everything.
today
Cut
decided to
cut
eat it.
some of it and ate it.
Where was this found?
It was found in the Alaskan tundra.
Hmm.
Shortly after, they sliced off a piece of its neck to eat.
Why?
And then it says, this is not a traditional story.
I don't know that you can do that with any other Imagine like, oh, we found a perfectly preserved, I don't know, like fucking Tyrannosaurus. Let's just try a bit.
Yeah. And why
I know that those dates don't line up, but just you use your imagination.
Exactly.
And why did they go for the neck? Like when you think the shoulder or the
Yeah, or the backstrap.
right? Yeah.
The good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's funny that this segues into this, but one of the videos we did, we talked about like some of the fun stuff to do in the fall, and it sounded like, not in a sexual way,
Yeah.
but you're a fan of smoked meats, Dan.
Uh,
So when you and let's just let me when you talk about like the shoulder or whatever, like you sounded like that would be the legit cut of the bison that I would want to try.
I know that there's different cuts that are better. I don't know which ones are the best, or I don't know where they're located. I know the names
Right.
of them, like a steak, right? Like a ribeye or
Right.
T-bone or
But you don't know where it cut
fillet. No, I don't. I just buy it from the grocery store. I'm not a butcher, and I'm
You're
sure.
not?
Do you guys know where it's from? I know that the
Not
neck
really.
is not a
But the
desirable
I know the
place.
straps are filet mignon.
The neck doesn't even have any meat.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a weird spot to
The
choose.
Chinese would disagree with you. I watch tons of Chinese cooking shows, and they cook everything, and they make it look so good. Don't they cook the whole entire head?
Well, let's get a Chinese chef on here, and they can.
I guess we could. I don't know
You
any.
do have a lot of work to do
Yeah, I don't know any. I don't know any Chinese chefs.
in your Rolodex.
But you know the back straps.
Yeah.
You know those
Yes.
on each side of
What are we
the
talking about?
on each side of the spine.
Right.
That's the filet mignon.
That's the flame. Okay.
That I
right.
know.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then you know the rump roast.
Yeah, I can guess where that's from.
No, but isn't pork butt not butt?
I thought it was like the hindquarters, like the roast. that
And like,
you-
but shoulders.
The ham's the butt, right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
The what?
I don't know.
I don't know. I asked
don't
you
know
this
either.
question as a resident.
Well, the answer is
Meat
no. Like
smoker.
I smoke like a whole pig once a year.
Gotcha.
Do you
That's-
really
Yeah.
in the ground?
No, we have in a cooker.
Like a we'll put it on a spit.
It's actually no, we don't. No, it's one of our friends has an old 50 gallon. I don't probably larger than 50 gallon, an old oil tank actually that they had cut in half and converted into a smoker.
That's cool.
And so you just
No, so
is it
we,
under a fire, just build a fire.
all
and-
coals. Yeah, so coals and they split it.
Dude, I want to.
So it's kind of like flat.
I want to eat that.
It's good. Yeah, man. It's fun. It's a lot of work. It's a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
work.
Wake
You
up at
gotta
like
stay
3 a.m. Get started.
It's more like 11 p.m. to
Ugh.
3 p.m. Yeah.
Jeez.
So.
Yeah, I heard a friend of mine. Well, he's an acquaintance, but he's a guy around here, and I've been to it one time. He does it in the ground.
Yeah.
Seen that?
I've heard that before. I've never done it. Yeah.
It's strange. Some kind of indigenous thing. I guess people have been doing that for years or
Yeah.
whatever. Put coals down and then they pull that sucker out, and it tastes good.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure it has to do with how you marinate it and stuff, right? I mean, it's not.
Yeah. I
like
mean,
just-
you just season the heck out of it and cook it. You don't want to, try to keep the.
when are you
coals
doing
in it.
this?
It's
What's your
normally
address?
around now. Yeah. So we haven't set
Around
a date.
now?
Yeah. Like the fall.
Well,
so
give me a couple weeks before you invite me, because I want to make sure I can.
okay.
I love barbecue and pork, man.
I just found out we're canceling it this year.
Wife just called in. What's that? Yeah, no. All right. Sorry, man. It's off.
All right, let's go to some real estate stuff. What do you think, guys? Cool with it?
I guess we have to be at this point.
You don't have to be. You could say no.
Yes,
Dan,
Yeah,
you-
let's
you
proceed.
agree?
Yeah. We are real estate agents.
that's true.
So
All right. Rates. Let's talk about the rates.
they're terrible.
Actually, there's
End
two
of
things
segment.
here. Yeah, no joke. There's two things here, actually. There's rates and just home prices in general. So let me read. I'll just read a little bit, and then we can talk about it. Home prices see a biggest drop in 9 years, thanks to higher mortgage rates. That's weird to me that it's the biggest drop. The prices are the biggest drop in 9 years. I didn't really. I
bet it's
didn't know that was. And this is from NPR.
Right.
Well, it's national. I bet it's a percentage.
Well, it's not only that, and it's month to month, so it's not like year to date or year over year. I don't know what the national is, but in the Baltimore Metro, we're still in that like 7 to 8%.
Well, that's
So-
mortgage rates.
No.
Oh no. Okay, sorry.
No, appreciation. Where it's still year over year. So the price of a house in October 2021 versus the price of a house in October 2022,
Yeah.
we're up like 7%.
Still now.
Yes, yeah. So it's a month to month drop.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not a across the board.
Because in the wintertime, is
Well, okay. So a lot of the time, I mean, I don't know what that data is from. That could be pulled. It's probably from August, maybe September.
let me
So
hold on to that. Let me read it because you're right. It's
Okay.
August. Higher mortgage rates are throwing a
You
bucket of ice water on the superheated housing market. Home prices in August
Right.
were down 6% from their peak in June. But you're right. It's national.
Right.
The biggest 2-month drop in prices in nearly a decade. Okay. So what were you saying?
Right. So generally, I mean, so there have been month to month drops in the past. There always is, right? Normally, there's going to be more expensive houses sold in the spring and the summer because that's when families want to move
Yeah.
because they want to get it out of the way before the next school year starts.
Mm-hmm.
So when a family moves, what are they doing? They're moving up, right? They're moving from a townhouse to a more expensive house, generally speaking.
Yeah.
So you're going to see more of those transactions at that time, which are going to inflate the prices for that month. And then when it comes back, the fall, maybe it's more investors buying, or just maybe it's a first-time home buyer. And you're still going to see good prices, but generally that's the reason that you're going to see the higher prices in the spring and earlier summer.
So if it's
Correct?
Yeah, I
if
think
it's you,
You're better. I mean, you analyze this probably the best out of any of us here right now. So,
but you mentioned as an average it's 4.5%.
well, that's data from Dan and when we went to the seminar, MBS Highway, which is a company that really dives into rates and forecasting. Over the last, I think the number was 65 years. If you just averaged out appreciation from 65 years ago to now, the average year to year is 4.5%.
Okay.
So when you talk about, and I'm sure we'll get into this later, but the objection now, I'm just going to rent. Well, sure, that's fine because if you think interest rates are so high, blah blah blah. But the counter argument to that is you're missing out on 4.5% appreciation. Now it might not go up between 22 and 23. It might be 0. It might be 1.
Right.
It might be -2.
Yeah, right.
But over the 15 or 30 year life of your mortgage, if you held it that long, you will average out 4.5% per year. And renting and paying somebody else's mortgage, regardless of interest rate, you're still missing out on that appreciation, which is cash basically when you sell it.
And what's the interest rate on a rental payment? So on 100% interest,
100%.
there's no equity bill.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
know.
but-
I understand why buyers are. I think we all understand
Yeah.
why buyers are scared right now. But
Yeah.
timing the market is, it's impossible pretty much. No one
Yeah.
knows what the future is, and
You never know what's going on,
and it's the same advice that you're going to hear from everybody. If you're in there for long term, or at least 5 years per se, you're statistically you're going to be fine.
And even if you're looking the long term, sure, but
Right.
not even if it's your primary residence. I mean, you have, we know a bunch of people who have rentals, and at that point, does your interest rate really matter as long as it positive cash flows? If you're making cash every month, then you're paying 7.5%. Do you really care?
Right.
You
You're worried about what your numbers are.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's all stuff like that. But the national numbers are really tough. We'll hear about it like if you pay attention, if you're locally looking for a house and you pay attention to national numbers, I feel like they're always going to be scary compared to maybe what your local market is.
Yeah.
So cities like New York City and Los Angeles and San Francisco and insert city here that had massive appreciation in 2020 through 2021, 2022. That's where you'll see the largest price reductions because they went nuts.
Yeah.
Baltimore's different. Even DC's like DC appreciated relatively well comparatively, but Baltimore is a little steadier. And if you look over the 10 years here, and Dan, again, you know this better than I do, but the appreciation in this area from 2012 to 2022 or 2020 was really sort of stagnant, almost flat. And then
Between
we hit
what? Sorry, what years?
like 2012-ish, like over the last decade.
Okay, yeah.
In Baltimore, it was really sort of flat. It went up a little bit, but then we just hit that massive spike. So if you take that data and you make it a trend line, we're right where we should have been. We just had that appreciation happened in a year instead of over 10 years.
You
Does
think
that make
so?
sense?
No, it makes sense. But I mean, you're saying it probably should have moved up and gotten to that point within 10 or 12 years.
I mean, that's a local interpretation of what I'm seeing in the data. And again, like I'm open to
but it
being
didn't
wrong
move.
here.
It
It
didn't
moved.
move.
It moved.
Well,
just
it moved
not
a
as
little
much.
bit, right?
So if I think if you look back over the last 10 years and you draw that trend line and you took it from a 0 to the peak of where it was last year, it's probably a 45-degree angle, which is kind of what, if you see the stock
Well, then why
market
didn't
goes
it?
up.
Why didn't it move then?
Local factors. I mean, every city has their own issues. We
Okay.
can get into that, but I
Right.
think that's why when you see these massive drops in housing, everybody left Manhattan. Everybody rolled out. It was a fire sale in 2019.
Yeah.
2020, right? The pandemic, everybody left. So prices in Manhattan just fell off a cliff. That didn't really happen here.
Right.
We saw the exact opposite. Like our last 2 years were nuts.
Right.
So I mean, what do you think? Is it
No, yeah, I agree. And just Yeah. Sorry, say it again. Bring me in back again one more time.
Yeah, I know. I ramble on you. Pay attention.
No.
When you compare to larger cities with massive populations, like New York has 6 million people.
Right.
We have 600,000 in Baltimore. So like the numbers, they don't.
I think it's 8 million. But go ahead.
Okay. Well, the numbers don't like correlate as well. But when you look at those big cities and they have this massive drop off during the pandemic, we saw the opposite in our local market here.
That's strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
Guess it just depends on. You think because prices are so high? Sorry, go ahead.
No, say for just to piggyback on you, Boise, Idaho was one of the highest appreciating markets in the United States because
Really?
Yeah, California, places that had more land and more space and farms and whatnot. And apparently it's actually a beautiful city. I don't know much about it. And I wouldn't at all unless the real estate news was on it. But those are the ones that you'll see more volatility because it fired up and then people realize that they can get back to their old lifestyles of living in a city and they miss that and enjoy that those other ones may not be as popular.
Yeah.
It's just weird how it's so crazy how it's so drastically different in each market.
Well, I mean, everybody's heard real estate's all local, right? Like location.
No, but I'm talking about the drastic.
Yeah, no, but that's what we're talking about. When you're looking at numbers and it's like the highest price decrease month over month ever.
Yeah.
Cool, not here.
Right, and also going back 10 years, that was generally an appreciating market the entire time, right? Because we were coming off of the lows of the 2008 GFC, and they bottomed out, right? So once you hit the bottom, it's just going to go up.
Yeah.
So we were in appreciating market. We were in a seller's market for that. Once we hit, I guess, 2012, 2013, we were in a seller's market for 9 years.
Yeah.
Which we're still in a seller's market. Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that because of the national headlines, the national media. But you can't change the fact that we're in a housing shortage, and you can't change it quickly, and you can't change the population numbers. Millennials are the largest demographic now. We're at home. I say we're because I'm one, and we're at prime home buying age.
Yeah.
I mean, you see,
and you can't change it.
you can't, and it's funny because I'm the tail end of millennial. Like it was like year before me, I think was like the cutoff.
You don't seem like a millennial to me.
Well, that's probably a
You don't
topic.
carry yourself as a millennial.
Thanks, I guess.
It's a good thing.
Either thank you or screw you, depending on how you.
No, it's a good thing.
But
It's a positive.
I do think there's a difference between like the mid to late 80s, like it's still technically millennial versus like 95 or whatever that cutoff is. I have no idea. But like what you were saying, Dan, the mentality for at least the younger portion of the millennials was like, screw the man, like, we're independent, like financial systems. Because you think about it, we grew up and everybody's been fucked since we had recessions and losing jobs, and you had September 11th, and like the millennials saw all this economic turmoil, right?
Yeah.
And like
Probably
a
more
war that lasted for 10 years. Like,
yeah.
So the mentality was always like, we're just kind of on our own. Student debt, all that shit. Now we're all 30 and we're all getting married and we're all having kids.
Right.
And screw the man, I'm going to live in a studio doesn't work.
Yeah.
So they're all buying houses. And it just all happened at the same time.
Yeah.
Just happened to coincide with historically low interest rates.
Yeah.
And now.
But that was, and just to interject, mostly that was a COVID thing, right? That was the rate.
Well, I mean,
because they dropped
the
that
rates
stuff
to
as
2.5.
soon as everything.
Yeah, the rates were low, but they got to historic lows because of COVID.
Yeah.
But
Trying
the
to
rates
save them all.
weren't. The rates were 5
4, 5, maybe even
and went down
3,
to 2.
high 3s. But yeah, now they were getting below 3. You get a 15-year at 2.3 or
crazy.
something like that.
And those people are never moving unless they absolutely have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, people don't want to exchange the interest rate. They don't want to have to, while we're not seeing as much, deal with the stress of buying a house. I mean, it was really difficult to get into a house because of how competitive it was. And people didn't want to deal with that.
Yeah. Because they're paying 10, 20% over.
Yeah, they're paying more and, waiving inspections, waiving appraisals.
Yeah.
Stuff they just didn't feel comfortable doing that you needed to do in order to get the house.
Right. I cut you off with the millennial thing. Do you remember where you were at? I can't remember what you were
No,
saying.
I mean I think I got through the point. It was
Yeah.
it was just piggybacking on what Dan said before. Millennials are the largest generation right now. I mean, obviously that happens every generation. You run out of, as people in the prior generation die, right? Then we start to take over that population
Way
center.
to
But-
take it real dark there.
I know, but in that, this is a weird generation because, like I said, we lived through financial, global, economic turmoil, and now we're all buying houses. And then you have a pandemic that hasn't happened in 100 years.
Yeah.
So it all hit right in this one generation that just happened to be at home buying age. And you have to look at that stuff to really understand what those numbers are talking about,
Yeah.
And-
which is why it's tough when you just look at national numbers.
Right. And which we didn't even touch on. The reason that we're in a housing shortage is because after 2008, so many builders went out of business and didn't come back. So the market was being underbuilt for a decade.
Really?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely what happened. So, I don't know I can't say exactly what percentage, but a large percentage of builders went
Because of
belly
the
up
crash?
because of 08.
Yeah.
The GFC.
I love that you have an acronym for that.
I mean, it's a thing. Great financial crisis.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
I don't call like the Great Depression the GD.
Well, no one does.
Nobody does. I've never heard the GFC before.
No? Well, it's real.
It was real for a lot of people.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
builders went out of business. Not enough came back. Skilled trades are down because they told everybody to go to college.
Yeah.
So, and building a house isn't like you got to buy the land. You have to develop the land. It takes years and years to do. It's not like ramping up production for cars or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it's something that they're not going to be able to fix overnight.
And then they got hit again during COVID because there was
Yeah.
problems getting materials, right?
Right.
I'm not sure what materials. I don't know if it was wood or whatever it was.
Everything. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, the price of lumber went nuts. Again, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was just the supply chain obviously went crazy. Price of lumber went nuts. There were all these memes running around. It was people leaving Home Depot with 2x4s in their car. And it's
Yeah.
like, that was my down payment for a house, right?
Yeah,
Like
right.
$50,000 worth of lumber, or like 2 pieces of
I
plywood.
didn't think about that idea though for the millennials. How much has happened through that time? The crash, the war, a pandemic.
pandemic,
That
yeah.
was toward the end of it, though. That
Yeah,
was
but
toward the end of the
that all the financial crisis, the GFC, right?
There you go.
The GFC, in 7 and 8. Again, you have the millennials that time were either you were 11 or like 5, right? So the oldest millennials were 11 or 12 at that point.
Yeah.
So that's probably when you start paying attention to, mom and dad are worried
Right.
about money. Like dad's freaking out, mom's freaking out.
And you
somebody
see the
lost their
gas
job.
prices. You see stuff. Yeah.
Pay attention.
Yeah.
So if you're 5, like whatever, you don't know what's going on, and then so you live through that, and obviously like September 11th, if you live through that and you saw all your friends go off to war,
Right.
and then 2008, we happened again.
Yeah.
So in every sort of formative step, you were either the first time you saw mom and dad freak out about money was, the recession, and then all of your friends went to war. Then
Yeah,
there's a
yeah,
recession,
yeah.
and then there's a global pandemic, and oh shit, I'm getting married, I have a kid, and I got to buy a house.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
Yeah, and it was. I think people for a lot of times, millennial was where it was like, oh, I live in my mom's basement. I prefer travel over home ownership.
Right.
Blah blah blah, and it seemed like that was true for a lot of people. But then they got to probably around 30, and they ended up doing what the rest of the population did before that, and was they actually did get married, and they do want home ownership. They just had other priorities that they wanted to, handle before that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that. Let me see. I think it was this next article, which is pretty much just about home prices in general. But I think the beginning of this article talked about the fact that, hey, we're looking at a house, we really want a house, and it was that from that millennial standpoint. I can't remember exactly what she said, so let's just not worry about that.
Okay. Well, I think we hit it pretty good though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I think we did.
The people buying houses now, it's just fucking tough. It's just really tough. But it will. Markets are cyclical. That's the whole point. They ebb and they flow. They go up and they down, and they go down. So like, it's really hard right now. I can totally empathize with people who are like, I'm just gonna rent, and then as real estate agents, obviously our job is sales, and it's a commission-based industry. So you have to find that line of, hey, let me just educate you real fast on how you can actually make money in a market like this without sounding sleazy.
Yeah.
And it's just the right move to do. I mean, I could honestly say I would never, unless it was like a short-term situation, I would never rent again.
Yeah.
Just makes no sense
Right.
financially.
Especially
if you're in a
and-
financial like place to do so.
Right.
If you're in a financial, but right.
Right. Yeah.
But there's only so many things you can do. Got to live somewhere.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. But I guess
You're
what I'm
either
saying,
going to
if
rent
you,
or you're going to buy.
right, if you have the means and you're scared of buying right now because of what's going on, I would buy over rent.
Right.
10 times out of 10.
Still think it's worth. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
still
rents are
think it-
skyrocketing. I don't see a great crash that's going to come where there's going to be an amazing purchasing opportunity for buyers in the future.
That's what everything I've read says the same thing. Nobody
Right.
sees
And
that
when we
happen.
say that, that's not like us just making stuff up. That's
Yeah,
people who are
everybody
a
agrees.
lot smarter than we are, who get
Right.
paid to analyze this data. No one's predicting a 2008. And the reason why the economy went into that shitstorm was because housing caused that. Like housing caused the collapse because of crazy lending practices.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like bank stated loans, right? Like how much money do you make? I make $500,000. Great loan. Like
Dude, I did that.
you did, yeah, right. Yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
didn't do those loans, but you were in
I
mortgages
do
before
those.
that.
But my friends would do that. They would, you're a teacher, in elementary school teacher. How much money you make? Before you answer, you need to let me know how much money you make.
I need you to make this much.
I need you to make, yeah.
Right. So,
And that's crazy.
and then no shit, like it's gonna burst.
Yeah.
That's not what's happening. So when people think like, oh, I'm gonna wait for the next housing crash, that's not really gonna happen. You might see the pullback, and we're seeing it a little bit now, but a 2 to 5% reduction in housing prices in this market, great. But you're gonna get 4.5% appreciation anyway. So it's like, by now, who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
6 months from now? I
Even
don't.
2% of appreciation is worth more than renting.
Even
is what you're
zero,
saying.
because it's still cheaper than renting. If
Right.
a 0% appreciation is still cheaper than renting,
Yeah.
because I'm paying down, you're always paying down principal. So when you sell your house, unless you're underwater, which like again nobody's thinks is gonna
Yeah.
happen, when you sell your house, you're always gonna have that cash reserve, that
Yeah.
equity in there.
And it seems like everything I've read, they say the same stuff. They're saying everybody's saying the same thing. All right. Well, I think we handled that pretty well.
Yeah. You mean like the podcast in general, or that topic?
That topic. Dan's checking his phone, so we're probably gonna need to wrap up pretty
We're
soon.
gonna do we're gonna do an hour. That's a good length for a podcast.
We didn't do an hour, did we?
Yeah, dude, it's almost noon.
Okay. Well, then last thing. It's water.
It's vodka. It's Tito's.
It's water. Last thing is I wanted to talk about HomeBot real quick because I think people would really appreciate that. HomeBot costs like $25 a month. However, we can offer that to our clients.
Right.
So, some of the benefits of that, I haven't run anything through there. Have you?
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe you can just explain a little bit. I have some of what it is. The cool thing is it shows the loan payoff. So it pulls that information, shows the loan payoff. Did you know that?
I think it's like an estimated mortgage amount left. Is that what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
It helps you. It helps you. Sorry, just so I don't look like an idiot.
You're good.
It essentially helps
Doing
you. It helps for you to plan. It's a planning thing, right? So it's looking at value.
It's
It's much more accurate than Zillow.
Yeah, well, that's probably a podcast all by itself. That is Zillow accurate. We can go into that for at least an hour. But
Yeah.
HomeBot is a good seller tool where we can plug in your address, and it assigns a value, and it is much more accurate. And you can go in and tweak it based on bedrooms, square footage, additions, which is, if you did an upgrade, you can add value to that. But it does a good job keeping the appreciation for you, so that every month, I think it sends you an update like, here's how much your house is appreciated. And for our clients, we do that once you close on your house. We put that automatically in and we send it to you, and we pay for it. But it's a good way for you to sort of passively keep an eye on
Yeah.
how your house is doing equity wise.
That's a much better answer
Yeah, there's also it'll touch, which is going to be nobody because of the current situation, but it'll give you options for refinancing if it's a good idea, if
Right.
it's not a good
I
idea.
saw that too, yeah.
There's some Airbnb valuations on that, which I am not super familiar with, so I don't know how accurate they are. But hopefully accurate, right, Mark?
Yeah.
Give you Airbnb,
Like if you wanted to use your property
Okay.
as an Airbnb,
it'll tell you how much.
Yeah.
like what they think it would go for per night, I believe.
Oh, that's cool.
That'd be a good. Zito has a program that does that. But that'd be Airbnb would be another good topic that we can do, and
Do
just
that,
bring
yeah.
in somebody who's got a couple Airbnbs because I don't have any, and I don't have any rentals either. So like I'm probably not the right person to talk about this, but I believe that the daily rate for Airbnb, if you have a good one, it's a pretty good return on that investment
Yeah.
based on actually renting it.
Yeah.
So
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that all depends on location too, right?
sure, I mean all of this does.
Like Baltimore City, you can't even Airbnb unless it's your primary residence.
Really?
Yeah, well, you can do it for like 60 days a year or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot
Why?
of cities are.
So I think the city has investments in the hotels, and
Yep.
they don't want to take the business away from them.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing in New York City with the taxi service, and now you have Uber. Remember they
Yeah.
were fighting Uber forever, like
Yeah.
because the city you get those medallions.
I felt so bad for those guys.
Yeah,
I was in, I may have told you this, but I was in Ireland, and they had the same problem when Uber came there. And actually, wait, I don't know if it was necessarily Uber. No, what they were doing was a little different. They were selling the medallions for cheaper. So somebody would work. You know, this one guy picked us up. He was so pissed. He started talking about it, and he was so pissed. And he was saying that his medallion was worth like $200,000 because of the value of how long he'd worked and stuff, and what the value of the actual taxi service was. And they were selling them for like $10,000.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, I just lost my retirement, you know?
it's crazy.
He also hated the English.
You want to get into that? We
Well,
probably shouldn't.
It was kind of cool, though.
Yeah, maybe next time.
He said, so what are you doing these days?
What was that?
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. That was pretty Irish. You don't think?
No, that was spot on.
Spot on. Because it's coming out of Guinness. Your face.
I think we should wrap this baby up.
And then I said, well, we went to Guinness, then we went to England for a while. Fuck the English. That sounded
That's
pretty
Scottish.
good. That sounded pretty good.
That was not.
Both those things were good.
Good work on
What
it.
do you think, people? All right. Should we wrap up?
Yeah.
I think so.
Call shot.
I think we did a good job.
It was great. This was
did
a
a good
good
job.
conversation. All right, everybody.
Do we have a
See you back.
wait before we wrap up? You got to plug the next one. That's how that works.
Yeah.
Next time on Wacky and Wired with Steven, or whatever. What are we calling this again?
Well, I said Wired Empire.
Sure. Let's go with that. There you go.
I don't know. Think
With-
about it.
But next time,
Next time on Wired Empire. I don't know what's going to happen next time. We're going to have a guest, and it could be one of 3 different guests. We either will have a movie post-production sound designer talk about sort of the magic of movies and sound, which is really interesting.
Yep.
We may have a guy, Gary, downstairs. We're here in Catonsville, so he's downstairs. He owns a record shop he has for like 20 years, and he's got a lot of cool stories just about records and music in general. That'd be fun. Or we may have another person come in who is a orthopedic surgeon, but it's got a really amazing story. So it could be one of the 3 of those. And right now we're just doing this one per month. But as soon as you start clicking the like button, subscribing, clicking the bell, which I've never done. You ever click the bell?
for podcast?
I'm on YouTube.
No.
You ever click the bell, Dan?
The notification bell?
You ever
Look how uncomfortable he is.
No, because I don't want-
Dan
I
did
don't-
such a good job, and now he just wants to get the fuck out
Yeah,
of
he
it.
is. Man, when can I? All right. Anyways,
Yep.
adios till next time.
See ya.
All right. Bye.
See you guys.